Due to the Old and New Testament format, which was created in Europe in the 15th century to put the future in the past, along with the practices of creating fictional Jewish historians and placing them in the first century to collaborate the story of a fake crucifixion and the stories of Moses and Joshua dying thousands of years ago, when in fact they are supposed to be here with God in the latter times. For it is written in the Ethiopian original tongues, also known as the Book of Testament, for it was one testament. It wasn't in an Old and New Testament format. For Ethiopia has the oldest, most complete Bible on earth, and it was not in an Old and New Testament format. Even though they have some revised visions of today in which they placed an Ethiopian Bible of 88 books in the Old and New Testament format. But the original tongues was not in the Old and New Testament format. So let's watch what it said. This is the book of the generations of Adam in the day that God created man. In the likeness God made he him, male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. In other words, Adam means couples. But then as time went by, they will be the generations of Jacob and Joseph. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. And he shalt thou reign over us, and how shalt thou have dominion over us? Why? Because Joseph will be Christ, and he was born in Ethiopia on Ethiopian Christmas Day in the wintertime, while Jesus was born in the springtime. So let's watch what it says about Jesus. Jesus is the son of Nav, the successor to Moses. According to his name was made great for the saving of the elect of God. He fought in the sight of the Lord, and he followed the mighty one in the time of Moses. So in the time of Moses, you will find Jesus, because that's father and son. And what time is that? In the time of David. So David is the chosen one out of the children of Israel, the Most High Lord. So David is one of God's many names, and he's the Most High Lord. And he set up the horn of his people, for he's the Lord. He's God himself. He is the Holy One. Notice it doesn't say the Holy Three in One. He's the Holy One, the Most High. So the Lord will have a horn forever, and he will be a throne and a glory in Israel. After him rose up a wise son named Solomon, and he might build a house in his name and prepare his sanctuary forever. In other words, he's supposed to be here at the end of times, in the latter times, where you will find Jacob, who is called the root on to David. So Jacob is David. He is the root of David. Who is Jacob? Solomon's father. So Solomon reigned during an era of peace, for God made tranquil his borders. But God does. So he gave Jacob a remnant, to David a root from his own family. So after David comes Solomon. Notice Solomon is Joseph. How do we know this? And first know this. After many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years, and you will find Sheba. So Sheba is supposed to be here in the latter years, and she's supposed to be here with Solomon. And Solomon is the son of Jacob. And Jacob is the root of David. So notice, which Jacob? The father to Joseph, the husband of Mary. So it goes from Jacob to Joseph to Jesus. And how do we know that? Because Joseph is the son of David. Because Joseph is from the city of David, because he was the house and the family of David. And David also goes by the name of Heli, because Joseph is the son of Heli. In other words, God has many names. Well, let's watch what they're saying out here.
Holy book in Ethiopia tells a fact. The Kebra Nagast, which was a holy book in Ethiopia.
It was not a holy book. It's considered folklore.
Tells a fascinating story. Around 1000 BC, the Queen of Sheba, a powerful ruler, traveled to Jerusalem to seek advice from King Solomon. She was so impressed with his wisdom that she decided to stay and learn.
Notice they're painting them white and they're saying that she was here 3,000 years ago. When in fact we just read in Ezekiel 38, she's supposed to be here in the latter years. In another Bible, it will say this: after many days you will be given attention in the final part of the years. And there you will find an army from the north, in other words, an army from Russia, who will be there to take a big spoil and do much plundering. And you will find Sheba, because she's going to ask them, are you here to take a big spoil and do much plundering? So Sheba is supposed to be here in the final part of the year. So she wasn't here 3,000 years ago. That's one. Let's continue his misinformation.
Learn from him. During her visit, she became pregnant with a son called Menelik.
Right, there was a king of Ethiopia called Menelik. So they're attaching a fake story because Solomon and Sheba wasn't here thousands of years ago, but there was a Menelik. So let's watch. Ethiopia has the oldest calendar. It starts when God created the world, and it has 5,500 years of BCE. That's why Ethiopia has the oldest language in the world, making it the oldest of all languages, considered the father languages. Considered much older than Amharic, Hebrew, and Arabic. So as you can see, the king of all kings is the one who made the list. So Tafari became the emperor, and his list begins in 4530 BCE. In other words, over 6,500 years ago. That's why it is written, are you not as the son of Ethiopia to me, O sons of Israel? In other words, Ethiopia is Israel, declares the Lord. So that's why Ethiopia has the oldest, most complete Bible on earth, with over 100 books. Some would say 88, but either way, it was written 1,200 years before any of those European Bibles. So what do those European Bibles count on? The fictitious story of the Kevin the Gus. So you notice that Kevin the Gus relates, the work has become a part of culture of Ethiopia. But is the Kevin the Gus accurate? The Kevin the Gus is a myth. Why? Because the King of Kings himself told you that he's not a descendant of Solomon and Sheba. So as you can see, in France in 1582, they created an Old Testament. First it was Geneva Bible, who started the Old and New Testament format. Then they followed it with the Rhymes Bible, which created their Old Testament and wrote it in 1609 and 1610. Basically, they're putting the future in the past and having you believe that characters of today died thousands of years ago. So they was there trying to hide the future, because it's written that they will enslave us for 430 years. So let's watch what he's saying.
Queen Sheba returned to Ethiopia and made Menelik the first emperor. This story is significant.
As I said, there was an emperor named Menelik 3,000 years ago, but as we just seen, the kingdom itself goes back thousands of years ago. But they want you to believe that Menelik was the first king of Ethiopia, just 25 years before Rome began.
Significant because it connects Ethiopia to the biblical tradition. In 2012,
it connects Ethiopia to the biblical tradition because they want to give credit to other people and make it seem like Ethiopia learned from somewhere else, when in fact Ethiopia is their original tongues.
To study the DNA of many Ethiopians and found evidence that supports the story. They discovered that some Ethiopians have genetic links to people from Israel, Egypt, and Syria.
And those are the people that they given credit for writing the Bible. So let's read what Ethiopia is. It seems that classical historians and geographers call the whole region from India to Egypt, both countries inclusive, by the name of Ethiopia. So of course the people of the Middle East will have Ethiopian blood in it because they are the original Ethiopians. But it's still painting these people white. And they're known for Ethiopians. Why? Because of black peoples and dark skin. So why are you painting them white? Hello.
This suggests that there was mixing between these groups around 3,000 years ago during Queen Sheba's time. The key
We just saw it. Queen Sheba is supposed to be here in the latter years or in the final part of the years. So they make the Kibbutz Nagus, which is fake, which is folklore and myth, part of their agenda to hide the past.
Nagast is an important part of Ethiopian heritage, but surprisingly, it's not widely recognized as a holy book. Even many believers haven't heard of it. This shows
Even the story of Menelik is not in the Bible because it's just folklore. It was made up.
how the Ethiopian Bible has been overlooked and undervalued. Despite its rich history and cultural significance, it remains a hidden treasure. That's to show you the extent of what was done to discredit and hide the Ethiopian Bible.
So they hide the future, they hide the past, they hide the Bible. With dudes like this, just saying pure stupidness.
A dying and rising Messiah. When a Jew tells you there is no such thing as a dying and rising Messiah, you won't find it in the Hebrew Bible. Yes, I can. There is no concept of a God man in the Hebrew Bible. Where does my Bible say that Messiah is God? Doesn't exist. He's just a man. Show me. What passage in the Hebrew Bible would we quote to prove that the Messiah, the Son of David, is God?
Why is it going to the Hebrew Bible when Ethiopia has the oldest Bible? So off the bat, he's
The flesh. Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And boy, did the Jews try to explain this away. Boy, did they try to explain this away. The Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Mighty God, that's an important title because it's only used one other time in the book of Isaiah. Go to Isaiah 10:20-21.
That day, the remnant of Israel and the survivors of the house of Jacob will no more lean on him who struck them, but will lean on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. A remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty.
We just showed you. The Holy One represents Ethiopia. Goes by the name of David. The root of David, also known as Jacob, also known as Jah, also known as Jehovah.
God.
So the Lord is the mighty God, right? Go to 9:6 real quickly. Is it 9:6? What were we told about the mighty God?
For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be on his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God.
Then he baffled me. A child is born who's the mighty God. So the mighty God will be born as a baby. But Isaiah 10 told me that mighty God is Jehovah. So you're telling
You're right, the mighty God is Jehovah, and he'll be born as a baby on the 23rd day of the 7th month in 1892, which is the start of Revelation. They also call it the start of the Industrial Revolution.
And was named Rastafari Makonnen. His father was a viceroy to the throne and had his son privately tutored in French at the age of 6. At 18, shortly after his father died, he became governor of the province. In 1928, he led the troops that killed Empress Zoditu's husband, who was not of royal blood, and became regent. He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah, power of the Trinity.
The Most High himself, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Follow Jah, not man, because these dudes out here wilding, changing up the story. Jah got
It's get away, there will be no engine. It's when the there is a back